Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this month's Sip and Pitch Friday. I will be your moderator for today's event. My name is Jessie Grieve Carlson. I use both they, them, and she, her pronouns, and I work at NGLCC as the Manager of External Affairs and Affiliate Relations. So a few housekeeping items. Please just make sure that you are on mute today, and if you want to click the three dots on the top right corner of your little square, you can rename yourself and put your pronouns in with your name. It should say rename right at the bottom there. And I will now introduce our judges for today's event. So first up, we have Gina Hooker, who works at Vizient as the Senior Diversity and Inclusion Partner. And Gina is also the Board Vice President of Oregon Pride in Business. Olivia Jesme is also with us today, who is one of my newest colleagues at NGLCC. Olivia is working as the Vice President of Supplier Diversity, and we are so excited to have Olivia on the team. Thanks for joining us. Lastly, we have Latasha Griffin, who is with McKinsey & Company, working as the Supplier Diversity Specialist. So thank you to all of our judges for being with us this afternoon and providing feedback to our business owners. So I'm going to go over the rules of Sip and Pitch Friday before we get started. Each company has 5 minutes to present their pitch. There will be one person from each business who's going to be pitching today. Following that presentation, our judges have about 10 minutes to provide their feedback and ask any questions. If our presenters don't have like a slide deck to share, no worries at all. This program's designed to be informal and provide real-time feedback for your company's pitch. And also, when you are seeing people out in the wild and you are giving your business pitch, you won't have your laptop to open up. So no worries at all. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. Team NGLCC, it'll actually be me. I'll give verbal warnings at 60 seconds and 30 seconds remaining if you're getting close to that time. There will also be a little timer on the screen that's going to be where my photo is right now, so that our presenters can see how much time they have left while they're presenting. This is a judgment-free zone designed to help you enhance your pitch and grow your company. So all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. And lastly, have fun. This is a casual event. It's a Friday afternoon. We're here to support one another and do some practicing of our pitches. So thank you all for joining us. We are going to get started with our first presenter. Today, we have Casey with Beyond Thinking. So Casey, if you are ready, I'm gonna let you share your screen. Sarah Bell, if you wouldn't mind ending the screen share, and then Casey can put theirs up. And then I'm gonna get this timer app open here.
My apologies. I can get started in just a minute.
Take your time, you're good. Oops.
Anytime.
Yep, go right ahead.
Raise your hand if you ever worry about having diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations within your organization, or any topic that falls under that umbrella. I really welcome you to physically raise your hand, or to use the Zoom link, also say like, yes, no, sure. Use that feature as well. Okay, this tracks and is very normal. The good news is you're not alone, and support is available. My name is Casey Connolly, owner of Beyond Thinking, an anti-racism coaching and consultation practice. How an organization approaches DEIBA conversations and the discourse when it comes to sexism, ableism, racism, homophobia, anything under that umbrella, is a major contributor to organizational culture, health, and stress. According to the American Psychological Association, there is a clear link between the day-to-day stress employees feel and their likelihood to look for another job. 71% more likely, actually. When People Keep recently released an article that said medium to high turnover in an organization lowers employee morale, it decreases productivity. It's expensive. On average, they say it can cost between 6 to 9 months of an employee's salary to recruit, interview, onboard, and skill to proficiency any new employee. Beyond thinking, we come at DEIVA a little sideways. We're coming through the side door. We work with leadership and people managers. We craft individualized plans based off the intercultural development inventory. It's an assessment that helps to navigate where you think you are and where you actually are in your own personal DEIBA journey. And so what we can do is we can customize and build individualized plans to support managers and leaders to become proficient and skilled and highly effective in leading diverse teams. Like, I'm sorry. Like Brett. Brett works at a consulting firm, and he was getting frustrated because he was the sole DEI champion within his organization. Does that sound familiar to anybody? So we created a customized 2-year capacity building plan so that more employees felt confident speaking up and speaking about various topics under DEIBA. And so one of the things that we did there was we offered facilitator training. We offered coaching. We offered small group conversations. We offered mentoring and pushing, as well as accountability. But because so many things were happening one-on-one and individualized, people were more willing to take down their armor, be more vulnerable, and lean into the difficult work required to truly create a more equitable environment. For Katie, from HighSpot, the newer manager at a growing startup, that within 1 year of working with us, grew to be the top rated manager in her organization, and that everybody was vying to get on her team. Imagine being in a work environment where communication is not missed because of unconscious bias or an uninformed lens.
60
What would
seconds.
that do? What would that do for your employee satisfaction rate? What innovations might get fostered? Don't wait for the oops, ouch, or uh-oh moment to call. Call us today and let us support you in fostering a thriving work environment for most all. And remember, here, Baldwin, not everything that is faced can be changed. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. Thank you for your time.
Casey, that was amazing. Thank you so much for presenting. I'm going to pass it to our first judge. Let's have Gina share her thoughts.
So first of all, really, really great job, Casey. I felt drawn in from the very beginning, which I thought was fantastic. I loved the engagement at the beginning. I also really like your logo. I don't know if that's part of it, this, but I thought it was really great. I felt like I knew from the very start of your presentation, sort of what your business was going to offer me. And I felt a little bit toward the middle that I was kind of trying to connect some dots because there was a lot of information being given to me. So I was like a little less engaged because I was thinking too hard about what you were giving me, if that helps at all. And then your wrap up was great. I thought the length was really great. And I think at the very end, when you sort of just I guess the very last part, the felt a little salesy to me, the very end when you're like, call us today. So maybe just switch that up a little bit. But overall, I think you did a fantastic job, and I really want to call you, engage in your services. So great work.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. Olivia, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So, Casey, I echo great presentation. I was really engaged. I do like the fact that you opened up and asked the question, because that's what definitely keeps your audience engaged and gets that type of interaction. I wanted to know a little more about your business, like kind of the history, startup kind of piece. I think it would be good if you can kind of put that in there some way, just so that people understand your journey, how far you've come. I do like the fact that you've added some examples of people who have excelled using that. And I think that's great. Using success stories always helps as well, so others understand how other people benefited from it. But I think overall, great presentation. I agree. I do love the logo. Um,
I think Olivia froze on my side. I don't know if she froze for you all. Okay, well, it sounded like Olivia was wrapping up, so let's go to Latasha.
can you guys still hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, sorry. I'm not sure what you guys caught, but as I said, Casey, great presentation. I think, like I said, if you add a little bit more on the history, give people a little gist of it. And I love the whole success story. If you can give us a little bit more of that, even in details, if you can bring a little bit of facts to it, you know, how many companies you have helped, how many people have the success rates and things like that, I think it will help as well.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Olivia. And Latasha, would you like to give your feedback?
Sure. Hi, Casey. Thanks so much for sharing about your business. I want to echo a few things that some of my colleagues said. I really liked that you started off asking for your audience to be engaged, right? People, you know, are more apt to pay attention, right, when you're asking them direct questions. So I like that you started out with the engagement. I really like the data, the insight piece that you brought to the table, sort of showing the linkage between attrition and how much it actually costs to onboard a new employee, right? And how it takes almost a year just to even break even on the investment. So you're demonstrating the value of having sort of this DEIB training, right? I love the success story. I think the comment I would give is maybe having sort of a focus on a client success story, right? Beyond just like an individual who was able to grow from the training. I think a person who would be looking to bring you into their supply chain, they would be asking like what other organizations you've actually worked with and how have they seen the benefit. But the success stories in general is clutch. And I think the only other thing that I found myself asking was, who's your ideal client, right? Would it be a huge organization like mine? Would it be a mid-sized organization? Just understanding sort of how scalable your program is, and you know, who your ideal client might be. So overall, great job, great energy, great information. And those are just a few tips that I would offer.
Yeah, no, that is I want to thank every one of you for providing such constructive feedback too, because so many of these thoughts, I was like, do I? And so the lesson is like, tighten some of the other parts and weave in some of those things. So thank you so much for that. And my partner is the one who designed my logo, so I am going to let her know that well, we're fans. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Casey, do you have any other questions for our judges here before we move forward?
I'm trying to get my heart rate to lower a little bit. Please bear with me. But I am actively writing your names down. And just in case there's anything that percolates as we go. But it's, one question, because this I think was, I was attending yesterday that fantastic webinar that NGLCC put together through the iLead program, was like perfecting your pitch. And I had asked the question of like, a juicy tidbit about my experience in my past is like that I actually got started because I was doing anti-profiling training in the Seattle Police Department back in the early to mid 2000s. And that is something that often hooks people. And yesterday they were like, don't sweat it. Like if you get invited back for a second round, you can add it in. And so I think that like, I don't know. So I guess like, I wonder, like I heard it from two of you about like how I got into this and how like the journey has been for myself. And so I wonder too, like, where do you think that might be a good spot to like plug my entry point into this work?
I can
Anyone
go.
has an answer?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Olivia.
I think in the beginning it would be great just to, because it shows your passion. You can already tell that you're passionate about it just from the way that you speak to us. So I think if you can get into, okay, this is what my business does, and then weave in a little bit about how you got into it, it would definitely help. And I know what you mean about the, it may deter and it may bring people, but I think that would be a good way of kind of just figuring out your audience when you are presenting. Sometimes, depending on the audience, is great to add some things in. And sometimes we know, depending on the audience, we should probably remove some things. So I guess it depends on the audience, but somewhere in the beginning would be great. Because I mean, we could see your passion, like I said, but it's even better just hearing, the kind of work that you were doing before and how you got into this space.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. That's really helpful.
I would offer for anyone else who's listening, and I think Casey, for you, your connection to your sort of experience and how you got into this work makes sense to share. I remember making that comment in a previous pitching, judging, pitching, whatever, and the person responded and said that my previous, work experience had absolutely nothing to do with the work that I'm doing now. And so it made sense that he wouldn't have brought that up. But since yours is so directly connected, I think to the why of why you do what you do, it makes sense to bring that in. But for anyone else, I just wanted to share, it's kind of subjective, right? If it's relative or relevant.
I love that.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Casey, for presenting. That was great. So next up is actually you all. For I think maybe the first time in Sip and Pitch history, we are inviting audience members to step up to the plate and practice your pitch. So if you would like the chance to do so, raise your hand and we'll see who wants to give it a shot for 5 minutes and present their pitch. Let's see. We got almost 25 people on the line. I know someone wants the chance, even if maybe you don't have it written down, maybe you just want to practice off the top of your head. Let's see who is courageous enough here. Evan, okay. Evan, I'm going to spotlight you. I think you have to turn your camera on if you don't mind, Evan. Evan, I think you're muted. Are you able to join us to pitch? Okay, well, while Evan figures that out, oh, I think we can see you now. Perfect.
Let's see. Oh,
Okay, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate, Evan. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. And
I'm
then
just supposed to be in here taking notes and getting a feel of this and maybe getting prepared for next month's meeting. But
Why not, right?
Why not? Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Let me put 5 minutes on the clock and tell us about your business.
So I'm currently an insurance broker, but prior to, let's see, 2022, around mid 2022, I ended a business that I ran for about 5 years called Mr. Bath and Spas. And it was a remodeling business, really sales and marketing. I handled the sales and marketing for a variety of different home remodeling projects, worked directly with contractors and subcontractors to do the fulfillment of the projects. But I did everything from the sales and marketing of the website, lead generation, appointment setting, running in-home appointments, also recruiting and developing a staff of outside and inside sales reps. I got involved with the business as a independent contractor, just working as a salesperson, 1099 salesperson, partnering up with local contractors who needed to get more contracts. So I go out, get the business so that they can, keep themselves busy and grow their business. I did that for about 5 years before I got started with my business because I had so much success with it and I got greedy. I wanted more money. I found out how to partner with manufacturers and pretty much do everything that I needed in order to run a small operation. The importance of this and the reason why I'm on this call is because I got involved with this business because I was tired of working in a very corporate, conservative environment. And most importantly, I've been living under the radar for the past 14 years. I'm a transgender male, but I existed in this environment completely undercover. But I was always uncomfortable. So I never really formed relationships with people in the workplace or outside the workplace because I was always concerned about someone discovering who I really was. I wanted to turn Mr. Bath into a franchise. And I want to turn to a franchise to give other people like myself the opportunity to run a business without all the hurdles of getting involved into a franchise, such as cost and identity documentation. If you don't have this and that together, you don't want to expose yourself or whatever the case is, but mainly as a path of entry into the home improvement business and to have an opportunity to be self-employed. The business is currently not active, but I'm still holding on to and the only reason it's not active is because of COVID. We ran into a lot of supply chain issues. So the orders were coming in, but I couldn't fulfill them. But I put together pretty much plug and play system for everything that you would need to start and run a remodeling business. It doesn't matter if you're selling bath remodels or kitchen remodels, but I'd like to see the Mr. Bath franchise be a name that's kind of synonymous across the country, where if you're looking to get a bath remodel, that's who you're going to call. And that's all I got off the top of my head. If you give me time, I definitely I can put together a presentation in a couple of days. But I actually forgot about this meeting, and I'm going to jump on here and see what information I could get, see who I could connect with, and we'll go from there.
Evan, that was amazing. The fact that you had nothing prepared and you were able to so clearly and concisely explain the history of your business and where you're at now, that was amazing. I'm going to add our judges and invite them to share their thoughts and feedback with you. Olivia, go right ahead.
Evan, thank you for coming to the pit. Happy to hear about your journey, and thank you for sharing your journey as well. That's really appreciated. Mr. Bath and Spa, I love the name. I love the fact that you gave us that background into why you started your company and the journey and where you see it going. I know this was just kind of like a one-off. So I look forward to looking at your presentation. I also look forward to hearing, I think, when you do pitch, how people can get involved and how like who you're targeting and things like that. And I understand what they can get, but a little bit more info.
Olivia paused on my end. I don't know about anybody
Yeah,
else.
I think Olivia is frozen, unfortunately. So while we wait for her to come back, I'll pass it to Latasha.
I'm in California, so it's still sunny out here. I am a cool guy, but I'm not too cool for y'all. But I'm sitting outside because it's a nice day, but the sun is out.
No worries. Enjoy it.
Sorry, I think I lost you guys. But
Now you're back. Go right ahead.
yeah, okay, but like I said, Evan, thanks for sharing your story. But to summarize, I think just hearing a little bit more on like a toolkit or the guide that you will be presenting to employees or people that you have or you want to come on as consultants or
I think Olivia's frozen again. So why don't we pass it to Latasha? Go ahead.
Okay. Evan, thanks so much for jumping in and answering the call. I would say I too am really interested in hearing and seeing your pitch when you do pull it together, but I loved how you connected sort of your corporate experience. And I think the fears that a lot of folks in the community feel in a corporate environment and having to sort of feel like they have to hide, and your connection to why that's important for entrepreneurship opportunities for folks in the community. And I would love to see you sort of use that to sort of draw people in when you do have your pitch, because I think that is a huge part of what makes NGLCC so important, that it helps folks build businesses, strong businesses, where they can be their own sort of master of their own universe, right? So I love that you made that connection. I would love to hear more sort of like the geographical area of where the franchise, could potentially cover. I know you have figured out sort of how to automate it, how to make it sort of plug and play for anyone who, buys into the franchise. I'd love to hear more about the tools, the systems that you've created that makes it easy for someone to sort of get involved and scale quickly. Maybe again, talking about who your ideal franchisee looks like what background they need to have in order to be able to jump into this. Like, could I do it? Would you have to have some, bit of construction or, renovation or real estate background to make good use of it? So I'd love to hear some of that sort of stuff, but really just love how you connected the sort of experience in the corporate environment and how that led you to wanting to be an entrepreneur and share that experience with others in the community that could benefit from, that being, sort of an answer to a challenge, right? So best of luck, and definitely want to hear more from you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Latasha. And Gina, go ahead.
Absolutely. So Evan, I'll just echo, thank you for jumping in. I don't know that I could have done that, so thank you for sharing. And I'll just echo Latasha and Olivia as well. I think the backstory was great. I think hearing this 3 times now, you can feel confident that was a super, super impactful way to connect in. It's humanizing, it's relatable, and I think, it speaks to the folks who you're pitching to. And also addressing the need of the benefit to others, and sort of to Latasha, to your point of really addressing the need and how this will then sort of fill that need for folks who want to be entrepreneurs and build a business and not a corporate setting where they don't feel like they can have that safety to do so. I think having some examples would be really great of work that you want to see done, some concrete examples of what these franchises would potentially do. You did a really good high level overview, but I wanted to see it. And then, again, reinforcing sort of the value add of what those franchises would do for folks. And then potentially a timeline, since this is something that hasn't happened yet. I want to know, what are you thinking? Is this going to start real small? Are you thinking, larger? What is sort of your timeline, and what's kind of your long and short term goal for that? But overall, really well done. I'm excited to see your pitch whenever you are have it completed.
Appreciate the feedback.
Awesome. Thanks, Gina. Evan, do you have any other questions for our judges while they're on the line?
I don't. I just jumped out the shower about 30 minutes ago, so I was not planning on pitching
Mr. Bath and Spa.
this, and I thought it was really cool. But I went with the name Mr. It was Mr. Bath at first, and when we first started having some issues with supplies on the bathroom products at the height of COVID, then I brought in the spas because I had been selling hot tubs for jacuzzi as a like an authorized dealer, and I did really well with that. So I said, hey, well, let me see what products I can get, since I can't get the bathroom model products so quickly. So I partnered up with a hot tub manufacturer, and that's how we added in the spas. But then maybe 6 months later, spas ran into the same situation during COVID where everybody wanted a hot tub. You're at home, right? Great way to relax with your family, detox. And same thing happened with the spa. So by the end of 2021, I had a store in Kennesaw, Georgia. I'm in California now. That's where I'm from, but I've lived in the Atlanta market for about the past 20 years. So the businesses ran out there. But I had a hot tub store, nice location in the suburbs, and closed it down at the end of 2021. And it really had everything to do with the supply chain, because I had received earlier in the year, even when COVID was bad and people were getting PPP loans, I never took a PPP loan. But I did have a private investor at Porsche give me a $350,000 line of credit. I didn't use it because I didn't need it. I was afraid of using it. I only used about 50,000 of it. So again, there was success, and there was I have a business plan that was put together that forecasted 1 million, over 1 million in revenue in the first year. That was put together by a very reputable company. And that's how I was able to secure that $350,000 line of credit. But again, I didn't use but a fraction of it. So there's success to be had in this business, not just for myself, but for other people. I've just been waiting for the opportunity when it'd be right to get back in, because there's no point in getting back in or drawing other people back in, and then you guys facing all the headache and the issues that I had to do with its undoing over the past couple of years.
Right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and please
Thanks for having
us for another sip and pitch in the future if you'd like
next
to
month.
again. Absolutely.
I have everything you guys asked for. I'll have that put together in a professional presentation if you
love it.
Next month's pitch.
Thank you so much. And is there anyone else on the line who would like to be a brave soul like Evan and present your pitch? I see Danny. All right. Let's see. Let me add you to the screen here, Danny. Okay, Danny, thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for offering this opportunity. I was not planning on being prepared for this, and honestly, I'm not. I was driving home today and wasn't sure I was going to make it to this on time, so I didn't want to be stressed out, but it seems pretty casual, and I'll take advantage of the opportunity to speak. So thank you again.
Yeah.
So I don't have oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, whenever you're ready, I'm going to set the 5-minute timer, and then you can get started.
And because I don't have a logo, I'll show my shirt.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, my name's Danny Fiore, and my pronouns are they, them. And this year in August, I opened a business that I was not prepared to open, that I was never planning to start. So what was happening was I was teaching music at a local private art school here near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I've been teaching drums and performing and playing music for my entire life. And so teaching is really natural to me, and I absolutely love it. And especially love working with beginners. And over the years and working with so many different people, I realized that I had a soft spot for the underdogs. I had a soft spot for the folks that were different, because I was different. And I really liked engaging with and teaching kids who were queer or had disabilities or who are neurodivergent. Anything under that umbrella that sets us apart and could set us aside from society, it made me gravitate closer to them. So I ended up having a really large group of students with all of these differences that I thought were really unique and special. And so I wanted to start getting these students on stage. And that's one of the things I'm most passionate about. And so to fast forward a little bit here to what happened in April. I was harassed at the school that where I worked. And for 5 years, like I said, I put in a lot of time there and shown that I was reliable and productive and engaged, enthusiastic music educator. And that didn't really seem to matter because I was trans. So I explored lots of different options immediately following this issue, including looking for new jobs, working at different schools. And it became clear to me that the only way that I could have a safe space for my students and prevent this from happening again to us was to open my own school. And I looked at my savings account and I just said, okay, well, we got to do this. So that's what I did. I actually, two other teachers from the school where I previously worked decided to come with me. They are true allies and heard about this harassment and were very involved with leaving with me. So I did have some folks come on board with me, which was great help to get me started, to take some of that pressure off of paying a new rent, because my rent for a classroom was a lot smaller than rent for an entire building. So that was a blessing, a huge blessing, that now we have this new space for not only the teachers to feel safe and free to educate, but also for the students, for them to feel free to express themselves, and we can continue doing the good work that we love to do. So then I thought, that was thinking small in a way, that, because there's a few different groups of people that I think I can reach. I think I want to reach new students. I want to bring new students in. I want to bring new teachers in, teachers that share the same philosophy and values that we do. I also thinking bigger a little bit, that the model that we've created could be used bigger picture. That this can be maybe a consulting kind of thing, where if this really works, maybe this could be a template for other people who want to create spaces like this in their local areas. Because in central Pennsylvania, it's not the most liberal place. It's not the most conservative either, but it definitely is. There was a need here. I'll put it that way. There was definitely a need. So I think, like I said, not only just trying to reach clients or students and teachers, but maybe reaching other individuals or companies who want to start something like this. It could be a good template. So that's what Empowered Music does. Just to recap, we teach different levels of students, from beginners to advanced, and of all abilities. And that's what makes us a little bit different, because I don't know how many of you have ever had music instruction before, but like a lot of other realms, music is really heteronormative, male-led, white. There's a lot of the same barriers in music that there are everywhere else in the world. And so I wanted to be a part of breaking those down and getting these students on stage and getting them in places where they don't see other people that look like them doing what they do, right? Like, that was my story. As a young queer, I had to search a lot harder to find people doing things that I wanted to do. I didn't see them on television. I didn't hear them on the radio. And if I did, how would I know? Right. So that's what we're out here trying to do: break down these barriers for folks that have, maybe disabilities, or they look different, or they feel differently, or maybe they just don't fit in. We don't want them to come to a music school where they just read the notes on the page, and it's a very kind of uppity attitude, where if you don't look like us or play like us or achieve like us, then you're not good. we don't want to make them feel that way. We want to make students feel that whatever they bring to the table, we're going to make it work for them. We're going to see that they're successful. And I think that philosophy can work, again, not just for students, but for teachers as well, who are trying to start their own teaching business, and for other companies who might want to start something like this as well. And that's all the time I'm going to use today.
Oh, perfect.
Did I go over? I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. We had just hit 5 minutes, so that was amazing. And I just wanted to say, as someone who grew up in Central Pennsylvania as a queer child, it makes my heart so happy that you are doing this for young people and for people who might not fit in. That makes me so happy. So thanks for the work that you do. I will pass it to Latasha if you'd like to share your feedback.
Sure. Thanks, Danny, for jumping in. Really appreciate the courage to jump in and pitch on the fly. So thank you for that. But really liked the backstory and the connection sort of, again, to your experience and how that led you sort of into wanting to empower others through your musical passion. I really also like the fact that you are figuring out like a way to make this a template, right, for other people who also want to get into this space and maybe make their own business out of it and teaching others. I would like to hear a little more about like the structure of how your program works, right? So as I understand it, you have, lessons that you teach probably in like closed rooms in your facility. Do you have virtual lessons? Do you have sort of different lessons virtually for other teachers who want to start their own program? Like, is it already packaged up or is it sort of a work in progress? Just would love to hear more about sort of the structure behind the opportunity, especially the part where you would empower other people to learn how to teach, teach their own sort of, or build their own business out of teaching. And then I think the only other comment that I had was maybe understanding sort of what disciplines within music you are focused in. I played the trumpet. It's amazing. Do you teach trumpet lessons? Like what's your, what is your sort of discipline or your, specifics around sort of the instruments that you're good with. So those would be my comments. But again, thank you so much for sharing your story and about your business.
Thanks, Latasha. I'll pass it to Olivia.
Hi, Danny. Thanks again for sharing and jumping in. I really appreciate that. And I love a good backstory. So I'm happy that you were able to share that with us. I just kind of like what Latasha said, I'd love to hear more about the structure, what you're teaching. I love the idea of templating it and having that for other people. So I think that's awesome. I'd love to hear, I know you briefly talked about it, about the impact that it does have on the students. So maybe like a success story from one of the students, but also the teachers, it's always great when the owner's talking about it, but when you have people in the organization that talk about how it affects them and how it's impacted them, I always think that's great for people to know. And then also talk about the growth of your organization, where it's at, maybe how many students, how many teachers, and it, even though I know you just recently started, it's going to grow, especially with the mindset that you have and being able to talk about that and share that. I think it's always helpful, especially for people like us who've been able to see it from the ground up. It would be definitely great for you to kind of pitch that as well.
Thanks, Olivia. And Gina, go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing, Danny, and for stepping in. So yeah, again, just echoing Latasha and Olivia, I have all of these notes because there was just so much good stuff. But very similarly, I wanted to kind of understand the structure of the program. I wanted to know what, do you have some succinct goals you would like to see that you're going to sort of measure as you go along? What's success look like to you? You referred to some barriers, the needs. I wanted to know a little bit more about that. So are there sort of some statistics that you can kind of provide that this is the need that you're filling? The story illustrated that wonderfully, but I also want to know like what is statistically out there. And then also sort of like similarly, is this brick and mortar? Is this a virtual, are there plans for accessibility? Are there plans for preparing teachers and students for this? Like what is sort of all of that programmatic and sort of logistical detail that I kind of wanted to know to kind of understand sort of how you would establish and then scale, because you said, it keeps getting bigger. So I wanted to know, okay, that's great. What structures do you have in place to ensure that that's going to be successful? But absolutely love the business, love the work that you're doing. Thank you for sharing.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gina. Danny, do you have any questions for our judges?
Not specifically. I think like the first presenter, I'm still coming down from muscling through that. But no, I just want to say thanks for pointing out all the things that I didn't think of in the moment. Now having those notes for myself that I can actually put something on paper that flows a little bit better maybe and addresses the things like the structure stuff that should feels like should have been at the front of my brain, but it really wasn't. It's like I guess we have to imagine, like you do, your audience knows nothing about your product or your service. So yeah, filling in all those gaps will be my next task. And just thanks again for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danny. You did amazing. And thanks for your courage in presenting today. That was awesome. So before we head to our networking portion, I just want to ask the judges if they have any closing thoughts, any additional feedback for our presenters, anything like that you'd like to share. Gina, if you'd like to go first.
Absolutely. Again, just thank you for the opportunity to listen to your amazing ideas, to all the presenters for the courage it took for those of you, for all of you actually. And just, just to keep doing what you're doing, just keep the passion and make sure that that's coming through. All three of you are very passionate about the work that you were doing, and that shows. So just keep that up, and then, keep working on the details.
Awesome. Thanks, Gina. Latasha, would you like to go next?
Sure. Thank you. Again, thanks for letting me be a part of this. I think this is maybe my third or fourth one now. So I appreciate the opportunity and invitation to continue to be a part of these awesome pitch competitions. I think it's so important that you get this part, right. Exactly. You may only have a few minutes to be in front of somebody to let them know sort of what it is that you're up to out here in the world. I love that you all have, put your best foot forward, even the folks who didn't know they were going to do that today. But thank you so much for sharing. I would say, sharing is hard sometimes, especially when you've maybe been afraid to sort of share all of yourself, right? For whatever reason for so long. But I think the more you do it, the easier it gets. So, pitch to everybody you meet, any opportunity you can to sort of refine and make it better, because that'll kind of help you get through the scary portion of it, and it will become more sort of just natural and a part of you meeting a new person, right? So just reps. That would be the only thing I would leave you with. So again, thanks you all for sharing your stories.
Thank you so much, Latasha. And Olivia.
Yes, well, thank you guys for having me today and allowing me to share some input on your businesses. Awesome job. I really did enjoy, this is my first one, so I enjoyed judging your businesses today. Your background is really helpful in showing your passion for your job, for your businesses and the things that you're doing. So always make sure to add those in some way, somehow. One of my mentors used to always tell me, kind of like what Latasha said, that sometimes you only have a few minutes to talk to someone. So practice makes perfect. Practice your even elevator pitch, what do you want? What are the important things that you want people to know about your business? So I always think about that when you are doing your pitches. But again, really appreciate you guys for jumping on, prepared and unprepared for it, and practice. And before I go, Alicia, thanks for putting Danny's website in the chat. I had the opportunity to look at it, and it's really nice. So kudos to you on that for that. But thanks, and I look forward to hopefully doing this again.
Thank you all so much for volunteering your time to support our LGBT business enterprise suppliers. This is so important for their development. So